BoxingPedia log, top fives. It's time for a new series. I'm overdue throwing my hat into the top 5 listings. Today's subject is fights from the 70s heavyweight division. What fights from the golden age do I believe are the 5 best? Championship on the line or not? A reminder that this is only my opinion and I'd like to hear your 5 in the comments. Let's begin. Number 5. George Foreman vs. Ron Lyle. BoxingPedia log, ring date January 24th, 1976. No one could have guessed the bang that the new year was starting with. 2 warriors full of power but void of fear clashed to decide the new NABF title holder and by extension push one man closer to a title shot against Muhammad Ali, the champion. And if you don't believe my description of these 2 fighters, go rewatch the stare down. The first round saw Foreman hurt. The second saw Lyle hurt. Neither man backed down from the other's fury. Peep that stare down at the end of the second. They couldn't get to one another in the third, but in the fourth, Lyle scared the odds makers when he dropped Foreman early. George got up quick and went toe-to-toe with Lyle until he got his knockdown back. Lyle got up quickly himself and absorbed a beating. It looked like he was ready to go, as he wasn't defending himself until he started countering well. In the final 10 seconds, he staggered and dropped George again. Foreman rose, and one of the greatest rounds in boxing history was in the books. Who wants it more? In the 5th, Foreman overcame being staggered again to bounce back and knock Lyle out behind countless unanswered punches. You may be thinking, how are we going to top this one? This is the golden age, baby. Just hang in there. Number 4. Joe Frazier versus George Foreman. 1. Let's rewind. BoxingPedia log, ring date January 22nd, 1973. Again, the opener for a year. Joe Frazier was the undisputed champion and George Foreman was not yet on the rebound as we saw him in the previous century. He was younger, undefeated, hungry, and invincible in his own mind at least. Again, I doubt anyone saw the result of this one coming, including Foreman himself, who admitted he was scared of the champion. You wouldn't know this given the stone-cold nature of the stare-down. Smoking Joe was typically the one to back his man up, but Big George never fought on the back foot. Something had to give, and that wound up being the champion, as down went Frazier in the first. He tasted the canvas twice more before rounds end. The second round was all the same, with Frazier crashing thrice more before the fight was stopped. It was over, and swiftly at that. George Foreman was the new heavyweight champion and appeared to be invincible, now to everyone else as well. Well, everyone except for one man. Number 3. Ken Norton versus Larry Holmes. Let's fast forward. BoxingPedia log, ring date June 9th, 1978. Brand new WBC titleist Ken Norton, who has much to prove, is making his first defense against a man with everything to prove. The big black cloud, Larry Holmes, was looking to capstone his leaving Muhammad Ali's camp by fulfilling his dream. We're going the distance this time, no stoppage here. Norton started slow per usual and absorbed Larry's offense while dropping rounds. He decided to even the score from the 6th onward by banging the challenger back. One of those big bangs hit Larry's left bicep and neutralized his masterful jab. The pressure was on, as the fight was evened up. Now here's where it gets really good, because both men are tiring. Larry powered through and resumed the use of his jab to take the 12th and dominate the 13th. The champion bounced back to claim the 14th. By now, perhaps the fight was dead even if you've been keeping count. So who wants it more? Whose is the 15th, and thus the fight? Norton started strong, but Holmes would show his greatness by powering through his combined pain and exhaustion to outwar the champion all the way to the final bell. In a split decision, Larry Holmes was the new heavyweight champion of the world, and Ken Norton was the only heavyweight title holder to never win a title bout. Number 2. Muhammad Ali vs. Joe Frazier 3. BoxingPedia log, ring date October 1st, 1975. It's the grounds of the heavyweight division's arguable ultimate grudge match. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier were blood rivals. The animosity, competitive nature, and fractured brotherhood were at a breaking point. Frazier drew first blood back in 1971, but Ali struck back in 1974. Both men were on a decline now, but still formidable, though the event was still seen as Ali giving Frazier one last payday before the latter retired. Ali's heavyweight championship lies in the balance, as these two gladiators will have to battle not only one another, but the crippling weather of the Philippines. This is the thriller in Manila. The champion came out for the knockout, lashing away at the slow-starting challenger, but failed to put his man away. Frazier, on schedule, ramped up his aggression and continued walking Ali down, intent on bashing the champ's body. Now both men were eating punishment at the hands of one another and the blistering heat. Between spurts of fury and the rope-a-dope, nothing was working for the champ, and he looked to be in trouble akin to that of the first bout. His break came when Frazier finally tired in the 10th. Ali capitalized by dishing an unholy beating to the challenger that disfigured his face and left him fighting blind. Still, Joe wouldn't fall or quit, though it did appear he came close to going down. Ali had stormed back and there was one round left. It didn't happen, as Frazier's corner stopped the bout. Ali was ahead on the score before the call. Frazier was willing to die for this win and never got over the result. Ali stated it was the closest he ever felt to death. In spite of little training, his infidelity haunting him, and his rival aiming to destroy him, Ali pulled through. Neither man was ever the same, in or out of the ring, at least in the long run. Definitely my favorite of the trilogy. Before my number 1, here are some honorable mentions.
Government of Zaire, which is...
Here we go, with Wilmington banging on in the second round. Norton is down again. The left-hand side of the face of Norton. Norton is a bit stunned, and Foreman, his legs are rubbery, as the left hand goes to the side of his head. A right uppercut, a left hand all over. George Foreman is saying...
Nancy Durham on the left.
Here we are with the slow ones. Look at Ali go. Look at him go. Look at him.
That one hurt. So did that. Career, Muhammad Ali was beaten.
Number 1. George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. BoxingPedia log, ring date October 30th, 1974. The Rumble in the Jungle is a story as old as time. Cinderella, David versus Goliath, the uphill battle of the underdog. The story of the rock, paper, scissors of the division climaxed here. Ali's return from exile saw him be beaten decisively by Frazier. Frazier be destroyed by Foreman, Ali be upset by his kryptonite Ken Norton, and then Foreman obliterate Norton. Everything pointed to Foreman annihilating Ali in the same vein, but this was no ordinary man. A decade earlier, he'd portrayed this underdog tale against Foreman's master, Sonny Liston, but Ali wasn't the young miracle worker anymore. He was wounded, and his record was blemished. I said earlier how there was only one man who disagreed with the assessment that George Foreman was invincible. Of course, this man is Muhammad Ali. Ali, as he promised, came out dancing and used his superior speed and skill to outbox Foreman. But something was wrong. George kept storming forward and appeared unfazed. So Ali took heed and chose preservation in the face of George's ability to cut off the ring in the heat of the venue. This is where the champion began punishing the challenger, and everyone thought their fears were coming to pass. As round after round passed, however, Ali wasn't wavering and Foreman was tiring as he attempted to knock Ali out. Despite flurries here and there, Ali also couldn't dent Foreman. Then, in the 8th, it all became clear. An exhausted Foreman was dealt a historical combo that sent him to the canvas. He answered, but was too late. Muhammad Ali used the ropes to leverage the incoming punishment as he wore away at George Foreman before the knockout. It was genius. Ali was once again the heavyweight champion, the second man in history to regain the heavyweight crown. And all this after he was thought to be done for. Capsizing the win was his revenge over Joe Frazier earlier in the same year. Between the build-up, the history, the narratives, the call by Bob Sheridan, the delivered promise, Joe Frazier being present, and the rebirth of Ali's greatness, I see this as the pinnacle of the 70s golden age. It just doesn't get any better than this. And there's my list. Remember, it's just one man's opinion, a man who's interested in hearing your opinion. What are your top 5 heavyweight bouts from the 1970s? And if you enjoyed this, stick around until the end where I've got my 70s timeline lined up for you to enjoy the entire history of the golden age. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss my uploads, and consider joining for superior benefits. This is the Charles Jackson, author of the Boxing Encyclopedia, and I'll see you in my next entry. Thank you.